Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and Chairman Inhofe, and ranking members Boxer and DeFazio. In my home state of Texas, the EPA estimates that upward of 11.5 million Texans receive some of their drinking water from some of the small streams and wetlands that could be protected by the proposed rule. This is important to all of our communities, and that's why I would ask a unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter from 25 state elected and local elected officials and another letter from 25 NGOs in support of the rule.
I'm sorry. Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Administrator McCarthy, your agency has been criticized on the science used to support the agency's rulemaking, including the science behind protecting clean water in this proposed rule. However, last month, EPA's Office of Research and Development completed the connectivity of streams and wetlands to downstream waters report, which noted that the scientific literature unequivocally demonstrates that streams, regardless of their size or frequency of flow, are connected to downstream waters and strongly influence their function. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask unanimous consent again to make a summary of this report available to the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. And in addition, EPA solicited input from EPA's Science Advisory Board, the SAB, on this report before it was finalized, and the SAB completed its review of the agency's draft report in October of 2014. Again, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to include a letter from the SAB to EPA that outlines the Board's recommendations and advise that in this hearing record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. I'd like to read, Ms. McCarthy, some excerpts from these documents and ask for your comments. First, in commenting on the connectivity report, the SAB finds that the review and synthesis of the literature describing connectivity of streams of downstream waters reflects the pertinent literature and is well grounded in current science. In addition, connectivity report notes that the scientific literature strongly supports the conclusion that incremental contributions of individual streams and wetlands are cumulative across entire watersheds, and their effects on downstream water should be evaluated within the context of other streams and wetlands in the watershed. Now, Ms. McCarthy, I'm not a scientist, but it appears that the scientific literature supports the broad protection of rivers and streams as necessary, as a necessity to protect the downstream water quality and quantity, as well as a host of other benefits, such as flood control, aquifer protection, and habitat protection. Can you comment on the connectivity report that says, and whether this science supports what your agencies are proposing as part of this clean water protection rule? And then secondly, are there areas where the Science Advisory Board review of this report urged the agency to change the report to reflect the best available scientific information on protection of clean water?
Thank you for raising the question. As I indicated in some of my opening statements and beyond, I am very proud of the work that the agency did to develop the science that the Supreme Court asked us to look at so that we could have a more certain and secure way of determining what waters were jurisdictional and necessary to protect. Our Office of Research and Development looked at 1,200 plus peer-reviewed scientific literature. We looked at, they also conducted their own peer review process. It was also peer-reviewed by our Science Advisory Board. I think the science is very strong. The real question is, how well have we reflected the science in the rule itself? And I think the Science Advisory Board was very supportive of what we did, but we need to make sure that we look at comments and know all of the nuances that are in the outside world, and we take cognizance of those as we draft the final report.
Thank you very much. I think my time has expired.
Thank the gentlelady. It's now my pleasure. I didn't know I'd get to do this soon. Recognize